going into the age of Ether because, Ethereum as a currency is coming through. Symbolically, there's actually a currency called Ethereum that all the banks are looking at right now, and they're working with it. Like, you got to go to, I think it's ethereum.com, but you'll see, you won't understand most of what is going on there because it's all computer coded stuff. But when you look at the media press, the press and the PR and all that kind of stuff, what you'll see is that major banks are now taking on this Ethereum as a currency and are working with it in their systems. And the reason is because it can't be frauded. And because banks are always suffering from billions of dollars of fraud, then they are looking at it as a potential model. And so this is the race because, see, banks generally cause fraud. They deal with the whole insurance also of fraud. So it's all part of their whole racket. But because you have these other banks that are like, but we're little banks, and if we go to Ethereum, we can eliminate our fraud, and our fraud will actually make us have as much as a big bank. So you see, it's still all greed, but greed in the end. This is why you got to know greed's story. Greed will end up dooming itself. And what that means for all of us that don't function in those kind of components, it means that it's imminent. So I don't know why people are running around here with all the sad faces because, listen to this. This is the last thing I'll say. It's imminent, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because even if you let these knuckleheads keep doing the things that they're doing now, they're going to eventually open up the spiritual realm. And we're already going to know what to do when they do that, and we'll be fine. But even on a deeper level, if that just doesn't happen, let's rule it out. It doesn't happen on a timeline. There will come a time in your life, just like there will come a time in my life, where I must go beyond. It's guaranteed. So why am I over here with this sad face? Have a free ticket out of the prison at some point. They call it death, but it's life. You see, it's just our interpretation. That's why they make the interpretation so horrid. And it's because if a person does die wrong, they do have a potential to come back in here again. Dying is like something you got to do well. That's why they say you need to train yourself on how to die. The flesh must die daily. I take the temple down, I build the temple back up. Thousands of cells die daily at every moment and regenerate themselves. Kali and whoever's on the other side, right? There's the Shiva, there's the Kali, and then there's I guess it's Brahm. But these properties are just telling you that, hey, man, why are you looking at death like it's the worst thing that could ever happen? It's the entry into when there's no cages. You leave the body. The body has a rib cage. All of this framework in the body, the bone structure and all this is what is keeping you here. This is what is governing your senses. It's a great experience, but it's also governing you so that you can only do so much, even though the limit of what you can do is hardly being even touched. But still, it has its limits. It will disintegrate at a certain point. So this is how we just line it up for ourselves. What's already going to be great for us is guaranteed as long as we're prepared. All we got to do is just make the preparations. And that's why when you talk to people who have already prepared themselves for that, they're like talking to the greatest people in the world. When you talk to people who are not afraid of death, they don't have all the going on about telling you what's going to happen and how it's going to kill us all and all that because they're not afraid of the ultimate outcome of any of that stuff. So we have to be the same way.
The message of Kali, is I'm an end, but how is any end not also every time a new beginning?
Right. Well,
immediately
it's just
after.
like what we said it's the marriage. We meet our loved one, and I'll tell you this, and this is good to put towards this part of the show, which we're coming to the end. It's like this, and this is how you know it's going to happen. We don't have to speculate here. I'm not into speculations. So 70% of you, no matter what happens, is going to go back and join all there is. Why? 70% of us is water. So even if they seal that casket tight, most of who you are is going to glide right through the casket, right through the pores of all of that dense matter, right up into the sky, and you're going to go see great-grandma and great-grandpa and everyone who supposedly left. but you're going to feel everyone, because 70% of all of us is in that element, and that element cannot be held down. Now, the other parts of us, like the sodiums, which sodium is a metal, the iodines, and the elements, they're going to go back and bond. They're going to bond immediately. So meaning they're going to find their mate right then. There'll be an explosion. Like, so basically, on a microcosmic level, when you leave, there's a light show. There's fireworks. And that joining back with the family, you see what I mean? So that's actually what we will be doing in one massive state of our consciousness, is we will be joining back with our family as the nobles and those that are pure, which are the elements. Now, for those who wish to glide on, this is for the soul travelers. Hello? Those who want to glide on, if they've taken who they are as a being, and they figured out how to inhabit it. This is if you work in your life to create the soul. That's why I said Kundalini is a baby. If you've grown your Kundalini, just like these Tibetan monks and all that, why do they meditate so much? They meditate to grow their soul. They talk about how big your soul is, about 3 feet from the body, right? And then as you keep meditating and you keep bringing in the prana, it gets larger and larger until it can fill an entire room. Pretty soon, it can actually become planet-sized. So if you get into that kind of thing, it's a conscious force. So even when all of who you are joins back with the collective, you have this other form now, and this is why there's such a reward to this form, because it's not a physical body. So it has the ability to transcend time, but also experience everything in time. It's just because of its makeup. And so I believe personally, those who are on the advanced mission, that's what they're doing. They're building their soul. They're accumulating truth, because truth will survive through everything. They're eliminating lies, which are toxins. And then that way, when they leave this vessel, there is something of them. But that something of them, which is like an atom, it's very minuscule, but totally conscious, can pass through everything, including time, thus being able to experience what it wants. And it would have gained that right, just like you don't give keys to a 2-year-old to the dually or the truck or the sports car outside. You wait till they get to the age to where they can get those keys.